After publicly expressing reservations about sitting for an interview with the special counsel, tonight President Trump told reporters he's willing to testify under oath.
Oh, I would do it under oath, yeah. Absolutely.
The president says no date has been set yet, but told reporters his lawyers have told him it will likely happen in the next few weeks.
I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Exactly a year to the day after the FBI interviewed then National Security Advisor Michael Flynn in his West Wing office, tonight NBC News has learned exclusively Flynn took that meeting without alerting the president or the White House and without an attorney present, according to multiple people familiar with the matter. Those sources tell NBC News no one in the White House found out about the interview for 2 days until then Acting Attorney General Sally Yates informed the legal team. But even after that revelation, Flynn wasn't fired for another 3 weeks for lying about his contacts with Russian officials.
The interview set off a chain of events in which key administration officials were fired, and the president took steps that could potentially be seen as trying to obstruct justice.
Flynn pleaded guilty last month to lying to investigators during that meeting about his conversations with Russia's ambassador and is now cooperating with special counsel Robert Mueller. Tonight, the White House pressed on Flynn keeping the president in the dark.
The special counsel.
Frustrated by that?
I haven't spoken to him about that specific issue.
Last time he spoke with Michael Flynn?
I'm not sure.
NBC News has also learned Mueller is casting a wide net, interviewing former FBI Director James Comey and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. That list also includes Mr. Trump's intelligence chiefs, the Director of National Intelligence, the Director of the NSA, and CIA Director. A source familiar with the matter tells NBC News Mueller also wants to interview the president's former top strategist Steve Bannon by the end of the month. So when will the investigation end?
It's getting closer to the White House and to the time when they will have to interview the president. How much time is left in this? We don't know yet. There's lots of work to be done.
And on the Russia probe, the president again said there was no collusion and said he's listening to the advice of his legal counsel. President Trump addressed the contentious issue of immigration as well, saying he's open to a path to citizenship for those younger, undocumented immigrants called dreamers after 10 to 12 years.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here. And click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.